Thanks to LastPass for sponsoring a portion of this video.
We all have 24 hours in a day, whether you're Elon Musk, Beyonce, Bill Clinton. Time doesn't discriminate against race, sexuality, religion, socioeconomic class, or employment status. Time is continuous. We can't pause it, we can't dilute it. And for those reasons, it's arguably the greatest asset that we have. Yet, many times we find ourselves struggling to have enough time in our day to accomplish all the tasks that we set forth for ourselves. So in this video, what I want to share with you is I want to show you some productivity hacks that I've used other than the ones that we've talked about in the past on this channel, like block scheduling, and we've talked about getting rid of distractions. This video is going to be a little bit more in depth to show you some things that I do to significantly increase my productivity. Now, it is raining here. This weather sucks. But we're going to do this video anyway, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what I do for this. Now, one of the things that I think a lot of people kind of get wrong here is that they assume that productivity is all about just working as much as possible and not having fun. And I've had a number of people comment on my channel and say, Nate, you look like your life sucks. You're not doing anything, you're just working all the time, you're not having any fun. But that's not really the point of productivity. The point of productivity is so that if you can do something in 5 hours, what might take most people 15 hours, I think that's something that really goes a long way. So that's really the point of this video, the goal of this video here. So let's get into this, and let me show you one of the first hacks that I use to really significantly increase productivity. So one of the reasons why we manage our time improperly is because of this law known as Parkinsons Law, and it essentially states that work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. So what this means is that if you, say, are given an assignment by your boss or by your school and you're told you have two weeks to finish this project, suddenly 13 days later you find yourself the night before scrambling around typing as fast as you can to get this project or this task done. It's because we sort of procrastinate, and work does expand so as to fill the time available for its completion. So keeping that in mind, think about if I were to say, I want you to write a book and I'll give you 5 years to do it, you're probably not going to start writing that book for a couple of years. But if I say you have 1 week to finish that book, suddenly you're going to write that book right away. You're going to get to that right away because you know you have a short amount of time to do that. So we're going to apply some of those laws further on in this video. I'm going to show you exactly how we do that. All right, so this one thing that I do is known as the Eisenhower Box, and I obviously did not create this, but you can do this on a weekly basis or even on a daily basis to make sure that you're accomplishing your tasks in the right order. So essentially what we have here is we have 4 different boxes, 4 quadrants here. So we have urgent, not urgent, and then we have important and not important. And so each one of these is going to be a different category, but in the top left corner, we can line up urgent and important, and this is the one that you put the tasks in that are absolutely non-negotiable, the things that you need to get done for that day or for that week. So for example, we said, we're filming this video today, it's raining out here, but it had to be done today, so this is what we put in this box here. This is the #1 task that needs to get done, and it's urgent and important. So then we move over to the upper right side of the box, and this is not urgent, but still very important. These are the tasks like walking your dog. It's very important, but it's not something that you need to necessarily do in the next 15 minutes. So because of that, it's something that you can schedule out. This goes for maybe calling a family friend because it's their birthday. You want to wish them a happy birthday, right? All these things that are important for the day or for the week, but they're not necessarily urgent, are things that you can schedule out. Maybe going to the dentist, doing a number of things that you can schedule goes into this box right here. Then we move down to the lower left corner of the box, and this is going to be the not important but urgent category. This is unclogging your toilet. This is taking out your trash because it's trash night, or maybe emptying your dishwasher, mowing your lawn. This is the category where we sort of say that you can delegate some of these things. So for example, if you have kids and you want to give them chores, this would be a great segment here for the things that are sort of what we call the $10 an hour jobs. All these chores that take up time in your day, whether it is mowing the lawn, doing laundry, folding clothes. There's all these little tasks that take up a lot of time in our day. You put all of these in the not important but still urgent category. And then finally, once you've completed all 3 of these other boxes, then we can look at the last box here, which is the not urgent and not important category. This could be something like trying out the new bar that just opened up downtown, or planning a family vacation. There's still tasks, there's still things that you want to get to, but you don't really look at those until you're able to accomplish the other ones in this Eisenhower box. So this is a really effective way of being as productive as possible. I really try to focus on the top 2, so the upper left hand, and once I finish that, I work on the upper right hand box, then I can move down to the lower left hand box, and then finally down to the one that is not important and not urgent. And this is a great strategy for getting as much done as possible for the week, or you could even do this on a daily basis. I tend to do this on a weekly basis though.
So there's two more things that I want to show you guys, but first a quick word from our sponsor today, which is LastPass. So LastPass relieves the burden of remembering passwords. You can stop getting locked out of your account and let LastPass fill in your usernames and passwords for you. With LastPass, you don't have to write, remember, or reset your passwords, and LastPass allows you to keep track of your passwords easily so you can stay sane, putting your passwords on autopilot with LastPass. LastPass autofills your credentials on mobile sites and on apps for iOS and Android. And when you open an app or site, LastPass will fill in your username and password for you, making it fast and easy to log in. They have unlimited password storage, free cross-device sync, and password sharing. So trust me, if you're trying to be productive, I think this is something that's going to help quite a bit. Not having to remember your passwords all the time, it can be a total pain. So I'll leave a link for LastPass down below. Thanks to LastPass for sponsoring this portion. Now back to the video.
So there is a major difference between being productive and being effective when working. Now, if you get anything out of this video, if you grasp any concept from this, I want you to understand this one idea that, let's say, for example, you wanted to clean your floor. Now, you could take a toothbrush and you could scrub your floor for the next 12 hours, working very hard, being productive by cleaning your floor, trying to get as much done, right? But it's not effective. There's other ways to clean your floor. You could get a mop, you could use a broom, right? There's other more efficient ways to clean your floor. So if you get anything out of this video, I want you to understand this concept that it's important to work smarter rather than working harder. And if you are going to work harder, because sometimes you do need to just put in more time or more effort into it, make sure that you're working smarter before you're working harder, because I've seen countless people who will attempt to do something, whether it is launching a business or saving their business from going bankrupt or writing a book, and they think that the solution to their problems is to just put in more work. It's just work harder. And I don't know where this idea came from. Maybe we can credit some of this to Gary Vaynerchuk, who is a great person. He has so many great ideas, but I think some people get the wrong idea from him, where they think that what they have to do is they have to put their head down and grind until they're 29 and never pick their head up and never do anything else but just work. When in reality, I personally think that one of the best ways to be productive and be efficient is to, from time to time, take a step back and to really take a step back to make sure that you're going in the right direction. Because I've seen so many people who will put their head down and work, and they'll be in the totally wrong direction. They'll be way off course because they didn't really do some big picture thinking. And you know, I think Gary Vaynerchuk would probably agree with me on this. I think some people just kind of heard his words and they kind of skewed them a little bit in their mind, thinking that what they need to do is just work, rather than taking a step back, working smarter instead of working harder. Okay, so that is one of the big points that I wanted to give to you. But another one is to sort of become a no man. Now, I know this might be somewhat controversial because I know some people are going to disagree with this, but I think this can really help with being more productive, but you should probably be careful with it. So for example, in college, I was very much of a yes man. If somebody said, Nate, do you want to go out tonight? Do you want to go to this concert? Do you want to go to this event with me, this and that? I would say yes, pretty much all the time. And I don't regret that. I had a lot of fun in college, but the problem is that I was never able to work towards the goals or the tasks that I set for myself because I was always kind of putting them away. Every time something would come up, I would suddenly take this goal that I was working towards and it would become second place. It would become this thing that was sort of second to whatever somebody asked me if I wanted to do. Now, don't get me wrong, I love spontaneity. I love just going on random vacations and doing things totally spontaneous. It's very fun, it's very exciting. But what I like to do now is, look, if it's a Thursday night and I'm not planning on going out and I have something really important that I need to do that night or early the next morning on Friday, and somebody asks me, Nate, do you want to go do this right now? Usually what I'll do now is I'll say, no, I can't because I have something very important tomorrow morning and I can't sacrifice that, depending on how important it truly is. So kind of just draw the line for yourself of how important those goals or those tasks might be that you have set for yourself, whether it's in business or in life or anything. Just kind of make sure that you're putting those at the top, and then you can schedule other things out. You know, you can still have a lot of fun, you can still do a lot of things, but just schedule them out so that, you know, if I know that I'm going out this coming weekend, I'm going to work harder during the week so that I can have some time to do that later in the weekend. It's just basic time management, but I found myself struggling to do that when I was in college, and I was always just putting it number two. All my goals were getting just kind of put down on the list in rankings of things that I was doing in my life. Now, there's really two ways to kind of work towards your goals or work towards being productive. And you can take the approach of essentially working on this task until you finish it, then you work on the next
task, right? So if you have like 3 or 4 things in a day, you might just kind of go down the list, and maybe the first one takes you an hour to do, the next one takes you 4 hours, the next one takes you 3 hours, the next one takes you 30 minutes, right? You could take that approach, but what I do, and what I found works best for myself, this is not necessarily meaning that it will work best for you, but it's by essentially taking these tasks that I have and making sure that I'm doing them in certain windows of time. So going back to what we said earlier in this video, when I brought up this idea of Parkinson's Law, that work expands so as to fill the time that's available for its completion, well, you can apply this same idea to kind of scheduling your day out, okay? So for example, if I say am writing a book, I know I use this example a lot, but it's just a perfect example for trying to be productive on something, right? So if I'm trying to write a book, what I think is effective is if you can set something and say, you know what, I'm gonna spend 1 hour per day writing this book, and I wanna have 2,000 words in this 1 hour. Maybe you're a slow writer, maybe you're a fast writer, whatever you set for yourself here. And what this does is it kind of gives you a little bit of a time window or a time crunch so that you know, okay, I have to hit this quota by this certain time, and it kind of keeps you going, because I found that if you are trying to be productive, and then you say, I want to write 2,000 words for this book, suddenly 3 or 4 or 5 hours can go by. You start to get in your head a little bit, you start to think more and more and more, and you start to get distracted from it. So setting those time windows can be really effective. And then at the end of the day, having a 1 or 2 hour buffer period of sort of just to like make up any work that you didn't fully complete during the day, that's my strategy for it. It works extremely well. Now, the one thing I'm going to leave you here with is to reward yourself for being productive. Now, this only works if you are doing the marathon approach to being productive. So there's really kind of 2 ways that I view this, right? There's the sprint approach for being productive, where say you have an exam tomorrow, or you have something very, very important due in a very short period of time. What I would suggest doing is just working hard the whole time, just being productive for as long as possible. But if you're taking the marathon approach, where maybe, going back to the book example, you want to write a book and you're starting it now, well, you can reward yourself for being productive during the day. So if you hit those goals during the day or during the week, then you allow yourself to go out, or you allow yourself to get some ice cream or something. I don't know, just something to reward yourself from doing that. So don't be miserable all the time, and it can actually entice more productivity going on in the future. So those are some of my biggest tips that I have for you guys. Now, there's a couple of others that are pretty obvious that most people would probably think of, like taking care of your health, making sure that you're hydrated. When you wake up, look, I'm not a doctor, but I'm gonna prescribe you with just drinking a big ass glass of water, because keeping your brain hydrated, having good health, eating the right foods is all going to play an effect on being productive as well. So remembering that, sleeping well, there's a lot of obvious ones that people just aren't doing that's absolutely killing their productivity, where their brain's foggy, they're tired, they're sleepy, they're not getting enough sleep. So doing all those things as well are equally as important as anything else that we just mentioned in this video. So thanks for watching, appreciate all the support. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, follow me on Instagram right over here, and I'll see everybody next week.